Having lost 2 straight home games in which they combined to score only 2 goals in 7 periods, the New York Rangers need better performances from some of their top players and even some of their role players as well. We're discussing on today's episode how guys like Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, and others can get back on track for the New York Rangers. Also going to have some closing thoughts on what is obviously a huge Game 5 tonight. All that and much more on today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers. Welcome back, Blue Shirts fans, to episode number 815 of the Locked On New York Rangers podcast. I'm your host, John Chick. Just want to thank you guys, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. And yeah, basically just going to jump right into it here today. We're just going to list a couple of players that really need to step up their game if the Rangers are going to get back on track here, regain control of the series, take a 3-2 series lead, and head back to Madison Square Garden with a chance to close out the series. Obviously, these last 2 games have not gone the way the Rangers would have wanted them to. Game 4 in particular was really shaky, just an unacceptable performance pretty much from start to finish in that game. Rangers were probably lucky to only be down by a goal for the majority of that game. They were even tied in the third period, but they ultimately lost. And like I said, we're just going to go from player to player here. Guys that need to step up and what they can do better to help the Rangers get everything back pointed in the right direction here. And we'll start with Artemi Panarin, somebody that I think is always going to be kind of under the spotlight because he is a world-class player, such a talented player, puts up all kinds of, ridiculous numbers in the regular season. He's always good for several highlight reel-worthy moments, throughout the regular season, and hasn't really performed at his best as a member of the New York Rangers come postseason time. And we're not going to count the COVID year, 2020. It was only 3 games. The Rangers only got in because they let 24 teams into the playoffs that year. And, the Rangers, they just weren't ready for that moment. They weren't really that good of a team then, if I'm being completely honest. And they got eliminated in 3 games by the Canes. That was a best of 5 in the qualifying round. But, you look at what happened last year, and you look at what's happening so far this year. Shaky playoff run last season for sure. Struggling again this year. And as I've said in the past, I will defend Panarin a little bit for what he did last year in the playoffs. He ends up with 16 points in 20 games, which is not bad. But there was just too much inconsistent play, indecisive play, too many turnovers for sure, and we're seeing a decent amount of that once again this season as well. In the 4 games, Artemi Panarin thus far, 0 goals, 2 assists. Those are both secondary assists, and they occurred on the Rangers' first 2 goals of the playoffs in Game 1. So Artemi Panarin does not have a point since the first period of Game 1 of this series. He's a +1 for the 4 games, and also has 9 shots on goal. But beyond the stats, just not playing smart, decisive, instinctive hockey, the kind of hockey that we're used to seeing Artemi Panarin play. Game 4 was especially troubling if you're a fan of the Breadman, which I think most Ranger fans certainly are. There were too many instances, and I talked about this when we did our recap episode, way too many instances where Panarin would get the puck and just pass to no one, just a blind pass to absolutely no one, just kind of like an empty space in a random spot on the rink, and it led to nothing except a turnover and possession of the puck for the Devils. It seemed to especially happen in the neutral zone. Somebody would work the puck out of the Ranger zone, get it to Panarin in the neutral zone, and okay, we're moving in the right direction here. Let's get the puck deep and let's go to work and let's create a scoring opportunity here. Let's gain the zone. But Panarin would get the puck, and there'd be like a Devils defender, moving in on him, and Panarin would just kind of turn and just kind of whip a pass across the rink to the other side of the neutral zone to no one. It's just a blind hope pass. And as I said in our recap episode immediately after Game 4, even if he completes this pass, which has a very low percentage chance of getting completed, it's not like it's a great scoring opportunity that's going to come of it because, you're completing a pass from one side of the neutral zone to the other side of the neutral zone. It's nice. You should be able to gain the zone and hopefully get a scoring opportunity out of that. But it's not like he's making this pass here and forcing it through traffic and making a no-look pass to set up what would be an easy goal. No, the Rangers are still going to be in the neutral zone even if this pass is completed and it's not getting completed. And, a lot of people, they'll get on Panarin in the regular season because they'll look at the turnovers and the giveaways. And granted, he probably does have a few too many of those. But the giveaways that Panarin gets charged with don't bother me at all, are when the Rangers are in the attacking zone and he'll try to squeeze a pass through some really tight traffic and try to set up somebody on the other side of the net for an easy tap-in goal. We've seen Panarin really thread the needle with some of these passes, make just picture-perfect passes across the ice, and set up somebody for just that, an easy tip-in goal. So if he tries that in the offensive zone and it doesn't quite get there and it gets intercepted and Panarin gets charged with a giveaway, I'm okay with that because you got to let Artemi Panarin cook. You got to let him go out there and do what he does. And, turning over the puck there, the reward outweighs the risk in that kind of a situation because if he completes the pass, very good chance the Rangers are going to score. If he doesn't complete the pass, okay, you turn the puck over, but the Devils or whoever you're playing, they still have the puck in their own zone, and it's not like they're going to get a scoring opportunity right off of that turnover. But yeah, these turnovers, these giveaways that he had in Game 4, again, just blind, random, completely hope plays, just passes through the neutral zone to absolutely nobody. It was not good at all, and it's something that he's got to clean up, going forward here for sure. As far as good things for Panarin, there's times where he's looked all right. There's times where he's made some good passes. I do think he's actually made a couple of nice defensive plays on the back check thus far in these games. But you know what? This is the bread man. Defense is nice, but Panarin, first and foremost, you're looking for offense. You're looking for points. You're looking for Panarin to be that guy, that guy that instills fear into the opposition. And right now, we're just not seeing enough of it. There was some of that there early in the series, but I think, honestly, for Panarin, as this series has gone along, he's had a worse and worse performance in all of the 4 games. He was great in Game 1. Thought he looked good in Game 2. Game 3, mixed results. Game 4, he was just bad. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to say it. So we need Panarin to tighten things up here and just start playing the kind of hockey that he knows how to play instead of just, again, making these random hope passes through the neutral zone. And can we get Panarin to shoot the puck a little bit more? Game 1, 3 shots. Game 2, 2 shots. Game 3, 2 shots. Game 4, 2 shots. So that's a total of 9 shots in 4 games. It's not a completely anemic total, but Panarin is just too good of a shooter to not put the puck at the net a little bit more often. I want to see Panarin be aggressive. When he finally decided to be aggressive against the Penguins last year, it was in overtime. They were on the power play. It was Game 7, and he goes to the net and scores. And, we all go nuts, and the Rangers end up going on a really nice run last year. I want to see more of that Artemi Panarin. Shoot the puck, have confidence in yourself, have confidence in your shot. Don't feel like you always have to be selfless. Don't feel like you always have to try to set up Tarasenko or Kane or whoever's on the other side of the ice there. Take the shot because Panarin's got too good of a shot to let it go to waste. And, again, I think with Panarin, just more decisiveness. Play that instinctive hockey that you're known for and don't try to force passes that clearly are not there. We're going to keep everything rolling in just a second here. There's a couple other Rangers, obviously, that we're going to get to here as far as guys that need to step up their game. And when we're all done with this, you guys feel free on YouTube to leave comments in the comment section. Let me know who you think needs to step up their game because there's going to be more than we're going to list here. Honestly, you could probably say just about every single player on the Rangers needs to step up their game at least a little bit. But, we're singling out a couple of players here, the ones that really stand out. And we're going to continue doing so with Mika Zibanejad, and we'll get to that in just a second here. But first, we got to let everybody know that today's episode of Locked On New York Rangers is brought to you by Built. Built bars are seriously the best. If you're looking for a delicious snack, but you don't want all the sugar and the calories, then you need the best tasting protein bar ever. Built. You gotta try this. What makes Built bars so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 100% real dark chocolate. That is right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievably delicious flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and cookies and cream. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these Built bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros, and what's even better is that they are healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now, you don't need to wait to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering Built bars at Built.com, but now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club while you can still get your specialty flavors at Built.com. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puff. If you're close to a Sam's Club, run in and grab yourself a 13-bar box, with our hit flavors, brownie, batter puff, and churro puff, and you can thank us later. All right, we just want to thank you guys, as always, for making Locked On New York Rangers your first listen every day. we are free and available on all platforms. And for the everydayers, very, very good chance we're going to be recording another episode a little bit later tonight. Obviously, that will be happening after Rangers versus Devils Game 5 concludes, and we're going to break down everything that happens in that game, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You will not want to miss that episode, that is for sure. And yeah, to just keep kind of going with this list here and talk about some other Rangers that really need to step up their game for Game 5 here tonight. I'm going to say Mika Zibanejad, and he's another one that was pretty obviously going to be on this list. You can start with the stat line. The fact that Mika Zibanejad, through 4 games, has 0 goals and 2 assists. You never in a million years would have been able to convince me that Mika would not have a goal through 4 games in this series. And if he didn't, I would say we might be in some trouble. And I guess in a way, you could say maybe the Rangers are back on their heels a little bit. I wouldn't go so far to call it being in trouble. It is 2-2, and they still have everything in front of them. And that's the beauty of this whole thing here, because anybody on the Rangers, if there are players that have disappointed or just haven't been as noticeable as you would like them to be, there's still a chance here to write, some really nice chapters in this story, because this series is not over by a long shot. It's 2-2. And obviously a huge game here tonight. But Mika, once again, just the 2 assists in the 4 games. He's also a +2 in that time. 8 shots on goal. Game 1, he had 1 shot. Game 2, he had 2 shots. Game 3, 4 shots. Game 4, just 1 shot. But, and again, we said the same thing with Panarin. With Mika Zibanejad here, that's 8 shots in 4 games, 2 per game. It's not, again, completely anemic, but for Mika Zibanejad, you want him putting more shots on goal than just 8 shots. He just got too good of a shot to not take advantage of it, to not just, let it rip. And obviously, I think a big part of getting him to shoot more, put him back on the left side on the power play, which it looks like the Rangers are planning on doing here tonight, moving him away from the bumper, putting him on the left side, and just letting him do what he does. And hopefully he can get a hold of, a one-timer and beat Schmid. I mean, Mika's certainly due. It's now 9 straight games that Mika Zibanejad has gone without scoring a goal. That obviously includes the regular season as well as the postseason. But something else with Mika here as it pertains to his shot. The first 4 games here, obviously no goals. Has there been an instance in these first 4 games where Mika Zibanejad has taken a shot and you truly feel like it's a threat to score, like he's about to score here? I can remember one, and it actually happened in Game 3 in overtime. He passed to Trouba down low, and then Trouba got it back to Mika, and Mika wound back and let it fly. The shot was deflected, I want to say, and went up into the netting. So that was an instance where I thought Mika had a great chance to score. It was just a better defensive play by the Devils defender. So even on Mika's best scoring chance, or what I believe at least was Mika's best scoring chance so far in this series, he didn't even get it on net. And again, it wasn't really his fault. The Devil just made a nice play there. But be that as it may, Mika just not creating enough instances, not enough moments where, you're getting out of your seat and you're expecting Mika Zibanejad to bury one. I just haven't seen it happen that much in this series. And again, as I said, I think one of the best ways to get him going is on the power play, move him back over to the left side. But, it goes beyond the scoring with Mika Zibanejad. You just expect him to be one of the Rangers that really stands out in a positive way, whether it's one-timer, rushing into the offensive zone, stealing the puck in the neutral zone, winning a 50-50 puck, whatever it might be. You're just used to Mika Zibanejad positively impacting the game for the New York Rangers, and we're just not getting enough of that. I've in the past called Mika Zibanejad the most consistently excellent player on the New York Rangers, and that's because I just think his all-around game is as good or better than anybody else on this team. There might be guys who you could say maybe like Artemi Panarin, more talented player. Igor Shesterkin, obviously huge to the Rangers. It's always a little bit tough comparing skaters and goalies. Adam Fox, obviously one of the premier elite defensemen in this league. But as far as just consistent night-to-night excellence, Mika Zibanejad, for me, has certainly been the guy these last couple of seasons here. And one good thing that Mika's done is I do think overall he's still defended well. It hasn't necessarily stood out in any really meaningful way in these last couple of games, but I do want to point out, of course, that the Devils are just 2 for 13 on the power play in the first 2 games here, and Mika Zibanejad clearly has a hand in that, but we need consistently excellent Mika Zibanejad going forward here if the Rangers once again are going to right this ship, get everything going in the right direction, and ultimately prevail in this series. Mika Zibanejad has to be the best version of Mika Zibanejad. We're going to keep everything rolling in just a second here. A couple other Rangers to get to, including the next guy that we're going to talk about, somebody that still does not have a point so far in the playoffs for the Rangers, and that will be Alexis Lafreniere. We will get to him in just a second. All right, so Alexis Lafreniere. I'm not going to give the kid line a total pass here. I mean, with Heedle, he's got 3 points. I want to say 2 goals and 1 assist. Might be 1 goal and 2 assists. I don't have it in front of me right now. I know for sure, though, that Heedle has 3 points. Kakko's got 2 points as well, a goal and an assist. And, a lot of Ranger fans right now, they're sort of directing their ire toward the top 6. And hey, I'm among you, and I did that a little bit in our Game 4 recap episode, because those are the guys you expect to deliver. Those are the guys that have been in deep playoff runs. Those are guys that have been to all-star teams. Those are guys that, in the case of Kane and Tarasenko, have won the Stanley Cup in the past. Those are your veterans. Those are the guys that are supposed to lead the way. And cliche or not, you need your best players to be your best players at this time of the year. But, the kid line hasn't done a whole lot either, especially in these last 2 games. And again, I realize 2 goals in the last 2 games, nobody's really done anything. The kid line, they do some good things. They tend to play behind the net as much or more as any of the other Ranger lines. They fight for the puck along the boards. They seem to have a knack for keeping the puck in the offensive zone and, keeping the pressure on even when they're not scoring. But you know what? Sooner or later, this line has got to produce some offense. They got to produce some goals. And I think Alexis Lafreniere is the guy that really needs to step it up more so than any of them. We just have not seen enough of Alexis Lafreniere. There was a scramble in front of the Devils' net in Game 3 where Lafreniere was in there, Kakko was in there, and you're just waiting for one of them to bury it. Lafreniere also had a chance at a deflection goal in Game 4. Adam Fox took the shot. Lafreniere deflected it. It was stopped. And then Jack Hughes on a breakaway the other way, and he scores. But Lafreniere right now, 0 points in the 4 games. He's an even plus-minus despite that. Has just 6 shots on goal. I got to say, man, the difference right now between Jack Hughes, and I try not to do this because to me, that stuff goes away eventually. But you know how it is, man. There's a big-time draft class, and you've got a situation where Hughes is number 1, Kakko's number 2, and then Lafreniere is the first pick of the following year. They're always going to sort of be linked together in one way or another. And the difference right now between Jack Hughes and Kakko and Alexis Lafreniere is pretty noticeable, and it's pretty sizable. And I know we can say things like, oh, well, the Rangers, they don't use the kids right, and they don't have the right line mates, and, well, Hughes is in the top 6, and the kids aren't, and, Hughes gets more power play time than the kids. That's all well and good, and that's all true, but just watching them on the ice, Hughes is just operating at a different level than either of them, and that was noticeable in the regular season as well. And, look, if the Rangers, if they lose this series, which I still think they're going to dig down and find a way to get the job done here. I have a better feeling about Game 5 today. I don't know why. I can't really put my finger on it. I just have a feeling that the Rangers are going to come out better in this game, and I feel like they're going to find a way, to get it done. I have a better feeling about Game 5 today than I did going into Game 4. And again, it's just kind of a gut feeling, but I mentioned this during the playoffs last year. I had good feelings about games 5, 6, and 7 against Pittsburgh too, and they won all those. I'm feeling it today. I feel like the Rangers are going to get it done. But I will say, if the Rangers lose this series and Alexis Lafreniere concludes his playoff run with 0 points in either 6 or 7 games, depending on how long the series ends up going, that is going to be a rough offseason. And there are going to be some questions. And, the Rangers right now, they're just in a spot where it feels like they kind of need a little bit of an unlikely hero. I mean, with Lafreniere, I feel like we shouldn't even call him that because there's high expectations on him, number 1 pick in the draft, but he is playing a bottom 6 role. But the Rangers need somebody, whether it's Lafreniere or Jimmy Vesey, who I thought worked very hard in the last game. Give me a goal from Braden Schneider. Give me something. Give me somebody that you don't really expect stepping up offensively and putting one in the net. And maybe Lafreniere can be that guy. Obviously, once again, the former number 1 overall pick. Maybe he can give the Rangers the spark that they need. Maybe the kid line in general can pick it up and give the Rangers the spark that they need. We'll keep our fingers crossed if that's the case. But Alexis Lafreniere, one of those players, is going to have to step it up for the New York Rangers going forward here. As far as other players that I think need to step up their game, I'm going to throw out Vincent Trocheck. Trocheck right now, 1 goal in 4 games, does not have any assists. He's a +1 in that time. And in the first 4 games combined, Vincent Trocheck has only 5 shots on goal. Also, very surprisingly, winning just 42.42% of the faceoffs that he's taken. And interestingly, Filip Chytil has been the Rangers' best faceoff guy in the playoffs. So the guy that has been the lockdown, gonna definitely win this faceoff guy in the regular season, that's Trocheck. He's been their worst faceoff guy in the playoffs. And Filip Chytil, the guy that can't win a faceoff to save his life in the regular season, now is suddenly a beast on the dot. But Filip Chytil is at 65.85%. Barclay Goodrow is at 56.67%. Mika Zibanejad at 45.98%. And again, I realize it's a very small sample size, but as I said in yesterday's episode, welcome to the Stanley Cup playoffs. You got to find a way to get it done. And for Trocheck, I mean, you hope that he can certainly figure that out, that he can, be that guy in the faceoff circle, the guy that can win you a faceoff in a big spot in the game, namely when the Rangers are on the power play. Because as I've mentioned, there have been too many instances in the last 2 games where the Rangers don't get possession off of the opening faceoff of a power play. The Devils clear it, and that's just a lousy way to start the man advantage. But really, I mean, and again, I'm singling out players sort of because that's just kind of the theme of this episode. Nobody's blameless after, what happened, or very few players are blameless after what's happened in the last 2 games. But when you look at the Rangers' second line, the whole line has been pretty anemic. It's not just Trocheck. Again, as we mentioned, Artemi Panarin, just the 2 assists, and once again, no points since the first period of Game 1. Tarasenko's got 2 goals, and none since, I want to say, either the first or second period of Game 2. And then Vincent Trocheck, just the 1 goal. It was a big goal. He tied Game 4 early in the third period, but that's all he's done as far as points are concerned. You've got 3 all-star players here. All these guys have played on an all-star team at one time or another. They have combined for just 5 points in 4 games. That just simply is not good enough. And Trocheck, there have been times during this series where, it feels like he's got a little bit of burst. He's had some good zone entries, and the Rangers in general have been struggling with their zone entries. So it's nice that Trocheck has been able to carry the puck over on his own a couple of times there. Very good puck handler. I still feel like Vincent Trocheck can give the Rangers something big. He's still kind of my dark horse. I'm seeing just enough from Vincent Trocheck to feel good about him, to feel like he's got a moment in him. And I said that going into Game 4, and like I said, he at least got the game-tying goal there. Right now, the numbers are really not in his favor, where he's got just the 1 point in the 4 games here. But Trocheck, I feel like he's close. I feel like he can make it happen, and I feel like he might play a role in the Rangers hopefully eventually winning Game 4 tonight. But something else about Trocheck before we move on to the last player we're going to discuss here. Let's see him get in somebody's face. Vincent Trocheck, he's kind of known for that, just being a gnat, a pest, that guy that you just can't stand. You just want him away from you. And we saw a little bit of that, like I said, early. I mean, that's such a theme in these episodes. We saw a little bit of that once again early in this series in the first 2 games where Trocheck was kind of mixing it up, getting into some pushing and shoving matches, certainly chirping a little bit. There was at least one instance where he was driving his opponent crazy, and the opponent really wanted to get at him. That's what Vincent Trocheck does. That's one of the many, many things that he brings to the table. It's funny because I was watching a program on MSG before the season started, and Vincent Trocheck, was the free agent signing for the New York Rangers. He was the only guy they brought in that was really a prominent player. Other than that, it was patchwork. You had Jimmy Vesey in on a PTO, and who else did they bring in? They brought in, like Ryan Carpenter for the league minimum. It was basically that. It was basically just a bunch of patchwork other than Vincent Trocheck. And so on this program, they were interviewing other players on the Rangers, and they were asking them about, what do you think about the team picking up Vincent Trocheck? And Ryan Lindgren was interviewed, and he said, that guy never shuts up, because he had faced him in the playoffs the year before, Rangers versus Canes, and Trocheck was, yapping the whole time. And I want to see more of that. I just want to see Trocheck be that irritant for the New Jersey Devils. Get in their heads a little bit. They got some young players over there. I'm not sure that any of those young players in general in this league are above being rattled or above just being thrown slightly off their game by some good old-fashioned smack talk. And let's see Vincent Trocheck go ahead and do that, going forward in this series here. But again, Trocheck, despite not having a ton of points, someone who I feel could still have a clutch moment on the way for this Ranger team before this playoff series is over, and hopefully before this playoff run is over, if the Rangers can find a way to win 2 out of 3 games here and get past the Devils. Much easier said than done, but we'll see what happens, and it begins tonight with Game 5. One more Ranger that needs to step up his game a little bit for this game and going forward, and I need everybody to stay with me here. It's going to be Igor Shesterkin. Now, hold on a second. Igor Shesterkin has been absolutely awesome, and as I mentioned after the last game, I thought, so let's go back to what I said in the post-game episode, because I heard back from a couple of you guys through some emails, through some comments on YouTube. The game-winning goal by Siegenthaler in Game 4, there was a cross-ice pass. Siegenthaler was moving toward the net. He shot and he scored under the glove arm of Igor Shesterkin, off the pipe and into the net. I called that a soft goal. Having watched the replay again and having heard from a couple of you guys, I got to agree with you. I probably took it a step too far, calling it a soft goal. I think what it is it's Igor Shesterkin, Vezina winning goalie, guy that's been playing out of his mind down the stretch and also in the playoffs here playing very, very well. And we're just so used to seeing him do the impossible. And we've certainly seen him make saves that were more difficult than that one would have been against Siegenthaler. So we're spoiled. I mean, that's the bottom line. We go from Henrik Lundqvist to Igor Shesterkin to world-class goalies, and we're just used to seeing them be, human cheat codes out there. But I will say, I think I maybe took that a step too far calling that a soft goal. It was a stoppable shot, and one that we're certainly used to seeing Igor Shesterkin make. But one thing I said, even in the post-game episode, even after I labeled it with the dreaded S word, the soft goal, I said, none of this is on Igor Shesterkin. And I'll say that again. That could have been the softest goal in the world there that he gave up, which it wasn't, but let's just say it was. I still would not put the loss on Igor Shesterkin because you look at what he's done, 4 games right now, he's given up just 6 goals against a very talented New Jersey Devils team. There's guys over there that can certainly put the puck in the net, and he's not letting them do it. Again, just 6 goals in 13 periods or 4 games, phrase it however you want to phrase it, but he's been very, very good here. But as far as him stepping it up, I'm looking for just a legendary Igor Shesterkin performance in Game 5 here because, and again, we're so spoiled and going from Henrik to Igor Shesterkin. But with Igor, and a lot of you probably share this in common with me, I always just feel like there's one more level that he can take it to. There's one more level that he can get to where he's just a complete wall and just has one of those games where he's just not going to let the puck get by him. He's been fantastic. I kept throwing out that stat. I think it's now up to 12 out of the last 14 games that Igor Shesterkin has played. He has held the opposition to 2 goals or less. He's got 2 or 3 shutouts in there. I want to say 2. And he hasn't allowed more than 3 goals in any of those games. So if the Rangers could find a way to put the puck in the freaking net here tonight, I think they're going to find a way to get the job done because I think Igor Shesterkin is going to have a big game. And again, I'm just looking for like a legendary Igor Shesterkin performance, a situation where he certainly does not give up more than 1 goal. And I know I'm saying the bar high, and I know that's a lot of pressure to put on Igor, but he's got it in him. I mean, we all know he has it in him. We need one of those games where he's just going to be who he is, which is a Vezina winning goalie, one of the best on the planet, and he's just not going to let that puck get by him. And, with the Rangers struggling offensively, and I talked about a couple of players that need to step it up and give the Rangers a little bit more, but they're struggling offensively right now. That's the bottom line. So we could be in a spot here where the Rangers need to find a way to win this game 2-1, and obviously that being the case, Igor Shesterkin is going to have a big night. So Igor might have to steal one. It's back in New Jersey. Rangers are on the road. Crowd's going to be rocking, although there will certainly be Ranger fans in there as well. But it's a tough spot to be in for the Rangers right now. Igor needs to be the man, and I think he can be, and I think he will be. I think Igor Shesterkin comes up with a big performance in this one, like he has been doing, really down the stretch here and certainly into the playoffs as well. The only other thing that I want to talk about here is the fact that the Rangers have had 2 days off between games here. This is the only time that this is going to happen in this series. 2 days off between games 4 and 5. We've got game 5 a little bit later tonight at 7:30, game 6 on Saturday at 8, and then game 7, if necessary, on Monday at a to-be determined time. But I'm hoping that this extra day off has come at a good time. The Rangers have a chance to recharge, reset, everything basically, reboot, recalibrate, whatever you want to call it. A little bit of a mental break. Obviously, game 4 was really bad, and they have a chance to, regroup a little bit. Hopefully there was some kind of a talking to from the coaching staff, from some of the players, whatever it might be, and hopefully they come out looking and playing like the New York Rangers that we all know and love. And look, I realize there's been people saying, well, the Devils have played a lot better. Yes, they have. But as I will say in the last episode, as I will repeat what I said in the last episode, there are 2 things that can be true here. The Devils have played a lot better, and the Rangers put forth an effort in game 4 that was completely unacceptable, and they need to be much, much better than that. So there you go. I mean, that's pretty much it for today. And for the everydayers, we're back here with our next episode, possibly later tonight. I might record right after the game ends. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully it's not triple overtime because the deal's off. If that happens, it's going to be pretty late. But yeah, I mean, we're certainly going to be talking about this game, whatever happens in Game 5, in our next episode of Locked On New York Rangers, so definitely make sure that you come back for that. But that will do it for today, guys. Once again, if you'd like to get in touch with this podcast, please send an email to lockedonnyrangers@gmail.com. Once again, that is lockedonnyrangers@gmail.com, and definitely give us a follow on Twitter as well, at @LO_NY_Rangers. Once again, that is at @LO_NY_Rangers, and definitely subscribe to the Locked On New York Rangers YouTube channel. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.